All right, there we go. We're live. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris from MediaFreshPress.com, and I'm here with Nathaniell Brenes from OneMoreCupOfCoffee.com, and this is another weekly episode of Fresh Coffee. And today we're going to be talking about content and building resources and content that converts and just content. Nathaniell, how was your week, man?
Oh, a lot of manual labor this week. I
Later.
finished my sprinklers in the front last week, and I started on the back, and it is a lot bigger in the front, and I kind of bit off more than I can chew. I mean, putting in the sprinklers is relatively easy, but the ground is so hard back there. And originally, I wanted to, do a few alterations. And because I wasn't getting full coverage, and the person who did the sprinklers before, they had like these gigantic sprinklers that stick out, so the mower hits them. And anyway, I wanted to fix stuff, but I got everything ready to fix it, and I was like, I already have pretty much everything half dug up. I might as well just redo it. So I kind of decided today that I was going to redo it, but it's going to take me probably another week or two, because I kind of pick at it rather than. I'm used to typing. I'm getting blisters on my hands and sunburn. Like, not used to this type of work.
That's funny. I've been doing a lot of manual type stuff too, just trying to get moved in over here and everything. We've moved a lot of stuff, and we're kind of out here in the country now. So I've been working online for a few years now, I guess, and I haven't seen a full day of sunlight since I started. So now I got like sunburnt cheeks and my nose is all red and stuff like that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I've also been super busy writing. I don't know what it is. I've been taking a multivitamin. I don't know if that's like supercharged my brain or something, but I had a weird schedule one night where I drank a cup of coffee too late. Like, I can drink coffee too late, but combined, I had like a nap at 6 o'clock in the evening. So I couldn't sleep. So I was like, I'm going to make use of this time. And I ended up staying up until like 5 o'clock in the morning writing articles. And I got 6 posts written in one night, like just banged out one after the other. It was insane.
Wow.
So I was pretty happy about that.
6 in one night. That's definitely a record for me. Especially, were they review type posts too, or?
Yeah, they're about 1,000 words each. So I started at like 10 or 11 at night and worked until 5.
Wow.
It's just one of those moments of inspiration.
Yeah. Do you tend to work better at night as far as writing goes?
I would say I feel worse. Like, I feel tired. I feel like my body is sore. I don't feel healthy. I'm kind of in that zone. Do you ever get in that zone where you feel like you haven't eaten for a long time, but you're not hungry? Like, you're just kind of weak. That's how I feel. But I'm a lot more focused. Like, my blood sugar levels are low. I'm like glued to the computer. There's nothing else to do. Like, I can't make a lot of noise, so I'm kind of stuck. So I'm more productive, but I don't feel as good.
See, it's the opposite for me, man. Especially when it comes to writing. I don't know, something about when the sun goes down, man. I actually start feeling better though. So like during the day, and it's probably got to do with like that I don't eat much during the day. Like when the sun's out, I practically have to force myself to eat. But when the sun goes down, I'll eat everything in the house. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I prefer to write at night. I do much better, feel better. Everything just seems better.
Well, I was reading this week because after I had that like writing bonanza, I was like, man, I gotta get a better schedule and start working in the mornings. And I was reading up on how to become a morning person and how to change your body's internal clock. And people were saying it's pretty impossible to change. I mean, you can change it, but you have to keep on it. Like, you can't change yourself permanently. As soon as you let yourself slip for a week or two, you're going to go back into that natural body rhythm. And so it's kind of like especially when you work from home, you got to kind of harness that, harness your strengths and play down your weaknesses. Like for me, I just don't like getting up in the morning, so I let myself get up whenever, and I just make sure I do the work at some other time.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't. I hate getting up. I like when I get up early, like just naturally, like I wake up early. But I don't like setting an alarm clock to wake up at 6:30 in the morning or something like that. That's way too early for me, man. I like. I seem like naturally to get up at like 10:20 or 10:21 like every day, unless I've stayed up super late. Like 10:20 or so, man. I don't know what it is. And I know that's really late to a lot of people, but during the summer when I don't have to take my son to school, because during the school year I got to get up at 5, sometimes 4:30, and I hate that crap, man. It's
Yeah.
hard to write when you've got up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I went through, I don't know, maybe I'll experiment more with getting up and seeing how my writing feels, but I find that if I get up, even with a cup of coffee, if I immediately sit back down, I'll just fall asleep in my chair. Like, I just can't do anything unless I have, no pun intended, unless I have 2 cups. Like, I literally cannot focus, and I just end up wasting time. I end up sitting in front of the computer telling myself, don't waste time, don't waste time. Okay, maybe I'll watch a YouTube video and then I'll stop wasting time. And then 2 hours go by.
Yeah, YouTube is it's a definite trip. But I give myself, when I get up in the morning, I give myself that cup of coffee to kind of just float around. The first thing I always do, which I know is a big no-no, is check my email. I kind of go through it just to see if there's anything that's like on fire that needs my attention immediately, and then I'll delete all the crap I don't need, and then I'll close that, and then I'll head off to YouTube or start reading something, and then once that cup of coffee is done, then I go to work, or I convince myself that I need one more cup of coffee to float around the internet, which is what usually happens. Which is why I watch so many Elon Musk videos and stuff like that. I do all that stuff in the morning.
That is such a mind trap, like watching other successful people when you should be doing work to make your own business successful. I do that all the time. I'm like, I could probably learn something about being successful from this guy. This has got to help me somehow. Actually, it's similar to like watching Desperate Housewives.
Don't tell me that. Is it really? It probably does the same thing to your brain, like just. Oh man. Well, speaking of like inspiring stuff, I want to talk about we one of the topics from last week was inspiring content. So I'm kind of curious to know what you mean about that, because this some of the topics we're going to talk about today are stuff that we didn't get to last week, and this inspiring content is one of them. So what did you mean by that? Like inspiring, just inspiring other people to take an action or buy or keep reading, or what did you mean there?
Well, I guess that was just kind of an umbrella heading for what I wanted to differentiate between like one of my biggest mistakes. I hope that we have at least some people watching at this point, because I wasted so much time and so much money doing this thing that I really hope I can help people prevent, or help prevent people from wasting the same amount of time and money. We're talking like thousands of dollars, uh, to at least tens of something of hours, and that thing was writing filler content. So when I got started, like even I would say a year ago, I was still on this, or I had already started this content train where I was like, all right, Google loves fresh content, but I don't have the mental capacity to come up with things to write every single day. I just didn't know what to write about. So what I'm going to do is think of 10 topics, and then I'll outsource a writer to write minimum amount of words, 400, 500 words, uh, 10 for each. So 10 topics, they write 10 articles for each topic. That's 100 articles. and then I'll just put them on auto schedule on WordPress, and that way it'll keep content flowing to the blog, and it'll keep Google coming back, and that'll fulfill that. Then I can write my good content when I'm inspired or when I have time or whatnot. And that failed miserably. Like, not that it ruined the blog or did anything bad to the blog, but it just didn't bring any extra traffic. Like, no one commented. They didn't rank for anything. The keyword targeted ones, as well as the non-keyword targeted ones, they just didn't do anything positive for the blog as well. Another thing I tried along the same lines was to have someone blog for me. So kind of assign a blog to them. I did had like 5 or 6 different websites, and so I hired 6 different writers, and I had them blog twice a week. So each writer for each blog, and they took care of everything. They took care of the writing the content, finding the images. I gave them access to my image account at CanStock Photo, so they could pick an image, write the content, put in the meta descriptions, and do all the regular blogging stuff. So I didn't have to touch anything. And it cost me quite a bit of money. You know, they were native English speakers, and they were, I think, they were charging like somewhere between $50 and $75 for 500 words of content on the topic, and including the blogging process, which isn't a bad price. And the content that they wrote just was not inspired at all. It was just very obvious to me that they had done some basic research. They sort of mulled over the ideas in their mind, regurgitated the content, fulfilled their quota of their word count, and posted it. Like, didn't really have a comprehensive thing like what the post wanted to do. It was just your typical filler content. Like, it didn't have a purpose. And again, it didn't bring traffic. It didn't make sales. It didn't encourage people to comment or anything like that. So it's just a waste of money. I mean, now, you know, I have the content on the blog. It's mine. It's good that it's there, but I think it would have been better to save that money rather than spend it, because it didn't. I felt it didn't help me except to teach me the lesson that it's not worth the time or money to do that.
I think that's something that happens a lot too. Especially, I did it. It's like when you're starting a new blog or something, you tend to want to put as much content on there as you can to make it look, you know, like full and like it's active and stuff like that. And I've definitely done that a lot. I spent a lot of time just putting content out that was, you know, so either just complete filler stuff or that was really similar to other people's content, you know what I mean? Just kind of to get stuff on there. And it's like you said, it was just a waste of time. I've never actually seen any of that kind of stuff work. And I don't know.
What's that?
I don't know, you know, how a reader actually could pick up on it, other than maybe it doesn't grab them, you know, conversationally. But like when I'm reading somebody else's blog, I can't tell, like, oh, you know, he wrote this half-heartedly, or, you know, I can tell whether it's good or not, but I can't tell, you know, oh, he was just trying to put content, you know what I mean?
I think you can, though. Like, if you read something and you walk away from it, you're like, whatever, like, my opinion didn't change. I don't want to share it. I feel like it didn't cover the topic very well. Like,
yeah.
Maybe you might not call it that, but I think that feeling that it gives you, a sort of unsatisfied feeling, like, why did I just spend 10 minutes reading this?
Yeah. Another thing is, when you're getting to sales and stuff like that, when you're trying to make sales, which I still don't think I fully understand, I think if you create enough content, that will, you know, in turn lead to sales. But I don't know how. I guess you'd consider it copywriting when you're actually writing to convert somebody, but that seems like almost a whole nother process than informing somebody. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, the sales thing, I really don't have down very well. I honestly don't know how I make sales on any of my sites, but something that I try to do, and again, inspiration from Kyle. I think it was him that said this. Maybe it was Ryan, or maybe it was Ryan that told me from Kyle. I can't remember. Um, the gist of what he said was you need to write enough content so that someone doesn't feel like they're missing information and need to go look for it somewhere else. If someone reads your content and they're like, okay, well, I have enough information to make an informed buying decision, and they're far enough along in the buying process, they're going to buy from you. If you're missing something and they feel like they want to go research it, you're going to open a new tab, do a new search, and they might just close yours down and someone else is going to make the sale.
Yeah, I think that was Ryan that said that. I can't remember when, but I'm pretty sure it was Ryan that said that. It was actually in a video, or it might have been one of the hangouts I did with him. Yeah, I remember Ryan saying that. And he does pretty good about that, actually, because he's in the niche, the kids' tablet Wi-Fi thing, where people are going through the process of what you were just saying. He's got a great keyword, so they're looking, when they're looking for his keyword, they're ready, or they're at least thinking about buying something soon, probably. And so when he's writing, he's got to cover everything because, like you said, they'll open another tab or go somewhere else. So I wonder if that's something that he found out through trial and error, or just kind of naturally knew.
Now that you mention that, I think he did pick it up from Kyle, or maybe Carson, one of those two.
But
do you see that Linda has a question here?
Yep. Let me pull it up here. Linda says, I always ask the purpose for the content to be written, ask myself and ask who I would be writing for. Do you think writing content to post every day is a must?
Tough question. For me, my own superstition, blogging superstition, is I get nervous if I don't post something every day to One More Cup of Coffee. It's just a habit. You don't have to. I think Dom posts once a month or twice a month to one of his sites as part of like a maintenance program, just to keep like some traffic flowing in and some fresh content on there. Kyle somehow did like 27 posts and gets 1,000 visitors a day to his ways to avoid scams online. So yeah, you don't have to. In my experience, I feel like you need some momentum with a new blog. But again, you don't want to get stuck just writing the filler content. So something that I do is I try to ramp up. Like, if you start off on a heavy schedule where you're like 7 posts a week, blogging every single day for a brand new website, I think the rewards for that amount of work into the site are not going to be enough to justify the amount of work you put into it. So I would start off with once a week or twice a week, and then 2 months down the road you can do 3 times a week, and then a year down the road then you can do 5 times a week or something like that. Because I did that. I did post every single day to One More Cup of Coffee for like 5 months, and at the end of the 5 months I was getting 10 visits a day. So it was pretty miserable.
Wow. For 10 months?
What was that?
For 10 months you did that?
No, 5 months.
Oh, 5 months. Okay.
5 months, 10 visits a day.
Wow. The first 5 months, or?
Yeah. Towards the end of the 5th month, I started to get more. It was basically the middle of January to the beginning of June. I had like 300 visits or less per month. And then I think in June I hit like 1,000 in the month or something. So it was like 20 visits a day or something. And then from there it was different.
And that, to Linda's question about the consistency again, um, I hate this is kind of a blanket answer, but it really does matter what your niche is. So like Nathaniel's talking about how he posts every day, and maybe not so much the niche, but the niche and what your audience is used to, because people that come to Nathaniel's blog and have been coming to it for the past year expect to see a new blog post every day because they know he does it. But like for me, and maybe not so much for Media Fresh Press, but just for others that I talk to, because like y'all probably know, I'm a freelance writer. So other freelance writers that I talk to, they recommend for their writer website about once a month, and that's only because they're not going for search engine traffic. They're not really trying to get a bunch of shares and stuff like that. They're just using that as kind of a portfolio and for a contact page and stuff like that. So there's really no need for them to post every day, and they probably couldn't. If they were posting every day there, then they're not making money writing for somebody else. So, but I think it's also, what are the other blogs and websites in your niche doing? If they're only posting once a month, could you come in and create fresh content every day and steal some of that search engine traffic? That's something to look at too, and that kind of goes into the competitive research thing, which I'm starting to realize is probably more important than I thought it was. I've read some things recently that you can really make your life a lot easier by just going out and looking at what everybody else is doing.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, just like that example there, if you were writing, just let me think for a second, reviews for televisions, and you go to Google and you check out the sites and you see that they're only posting once a week, maybe you could go in and post every day or twice a week, and then that may give you a boost in the search engine, but it may also give you a boost in social media and other places too. So that's just one of the things I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I think that'd be a great opportunity. I see that with my own review posting, just in the fact that most people that do reviews, they either don't buy the products or they kind of copy stuff from other reviews, or they give really general information, and that's kind of what inspires me to write the way I do, is in contrast to what they're doing. If I give an opinion about something, like I back it up with a picture or a reason or a link or something like that. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, that totally makes sense that you can do the opposite of what your competitors are doing to differentiate yourself, or the same if what they're doing is working.
yeah, exactly. So, like in the example that I just used, I was saying, maybe they're writing once a week, you could write twice a week, and maybe that's too much. Maybe you could go to once every 2 weeks. Maybe that audience doesn't need that much. So there's like a lot of different things you can do when it comes to that. Do you see my camera just freak out right there?
No.
It just like got all blurry for a second. I don't know why. Sorry. Anyway. So I hope that helps, Linda. I don't know what her niche is, do you?
No.
I think it might be butterflies or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Speaking of niches, I was gonna buy some rocks for the backyard, and those are expensive. I was thinking, all right, I'll get like a truck full of rocks, and I was like calculating square footage and all this stuff, and I don't know if I calculated wrong, but it's looking like it's gonna cost me like $1,000 or more to buy some of these things. It's like, for some rocks, and there's so much opportunity there. I looked at these websites from these landscaping people, and they are terrible. They're horrible websites. They're uninformative. They're hard to navigate. They're terribly designed. Um, you could, like, if someone had some knowledge of a little bit of landscaping stuff and wanted to do some research on like just landscaping rocks alone, you could not only work with clients, but I'm sure you could do you could work out some relationship with some of these companies. I don't know. That thought didn't really go past that. I don't know how you would do affiliate marketing for rocks, but like just navigating the web, I was like, I don't even feel like being on these websites right now because I don't know what they're trying. They're trying to figure out how much it's going to cost me, and I just basically couldn't figure it out.
Um, for landscaping and stuff like that, especially the rocks, I would imagine that Home Depot and Lowe's probably have some type of affiliate program. But the problem with that is that most people still aren't ordering from Home Depot and Lowe's online. They're still going to the store and getting the stuff. So,
Yeah.
But landscaping, man, is actually pretty competitive. I have like 2 or 3 clients that are landscaping website. Well, actually, 2 of them are like SEO agencies, but I write a lot of landscaping articles for them. And then the other guy is a landscaper here in Florida, and he owns like probably every like kind of landscaping URL you could think of, man. Like I can't even like landscape Tampa landscape, Jacksonville landscape, Jacksonville yards, just all this crazy stuff, man.
Do they have content on all the websites, or are all the URLs directly?
No, not all of them. Not yet. I think he's working on it though. I've done like 10 for him so far, but he's got a bunch of them. They don't all have content. They're just kind of parked right now, I guess. But yeah, like fencing and just all that stuff, man. It's supposedly a pretty competitive niche, but I'm here in Florida, so that's probably not all over the place.
Yeah, I think Florida would have a lot of money, a lot of retirees. They're looking to spend their days working on their house or having a small whatever and having a nice yard.
Yeah. Linda says she did. I think she's talking about the competition there. But she also did say her niches are butterflies and cooking homemade. So I was at least halfway right. I knew it had to be something to do with butterflies. I think I remember talking to her about it in WH Chat one day.
Homemade butterfly cooking, maybe.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Where do you want to go from that? I mean, butterfly cooking. Not much of a segue we can do there. Oh, actually, let's talk about resources, I guess. We've talked about this a little bit last week, I think, but not much.
Yeah, forget how far we got into the topic.
This week, I went kind of looking for jump links. Do you know how to do jump links?
You mean where you click a link on your page and it links to another part of the page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do yours work? Because when I do mine, they work, but then it puts the heading like 2 lines above where it's supposed to be. So
You got to put an extra space above it.
I tried that too. I think what happens is that, at least this is my assumption at this point, I've changed my font size. So I'm wondering if now the jump link is off because of my font size. So I don't know. But yeah, I tried putting a couple extra spaces in, and actually it does work when I put 2 extra spaces in, but then, my heading's so far from the content, it looks dumb.
So the spaces are showing, because sometimes the spaces show in the back end, but then they don't show in the front end.
No, yeah, they're definitely showing on the front end too.
The other thing is that when you're logged into WordPress, you have like that 10, 20 pixel bar on top, which shows your login status. So that's going to push down the page a little bit. So to see what the true visitor is going to see, you got to log out or remove that bar, which I think you can do in the user area. And so that'll change how many pixels it is.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I'll have to try that.
So the way I do it is I have I have the heading and the paragraph below it with no space between the heading and the paragraph, and then I put the landing spot to be I think either just above the heading or a space between the landing spot and the heading. I can't remember. It's a space somewhere that I use that's above the heading.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll have to try that. It probably is the bar, and then maybe I could just do it with one space instead of two. Let's see. Lynn's got something else here.
Well, about the resources, that I can't remember what we covered last week, but the main thing I wanted to that I kind of realized I was doing is, as I was writing, like I kept repeating myself over and over, like talking about binary options or talking about blog networks or talking about link building or whatever. These topics kept coming up, and I would link out to like authority sites, and I started realizing like I don't agree with everything this person has to say, and I don't want to keep linking people out to other content. So I just wrote my own resource, like which the idea wasn't to sell anything, and it wasn't to get people on my list or anything. It was just a matter of convenience. That now I have this page, it's 2,000 words on one topic that's just information that's sort of like my information with my own opinion or my own flair on it, and then I can link to that whenever I want. I think that's good to target harder keywords, like for binary options. Like my keyword was binary options, which is ridiculous. It's 2 words. Like how are you going to rank for a 2-word keyword? But not impossible. Sometimes for these products, you type in the name of the product, and the reviews pop up higher than the actual website. So you can rank for that stuff. And then I don't know how much anchor text plays into that, but if you link relevant content, you're like, all right, well, this binary options product is a scam, and in the content you have binary options. Let's say you use binary options, that word, 10 times in the article, and then you link to your content. It doesn't matter what the anchor text is. I think Google can still see binary options article linking to binary options article. They must be relevant, and they're going to boost one or both of them for that word.
When you write out these resources, do you do it as a post, just as a normal blog post, or do you actually like make it a part of the navigation, or maybe in the sidebar or something like that? Do you give them a static spot anywhere on your website, I guess is the question.
It depends on what it is. If it's something that I think is going to help a lot of people, then I'll put it in a sidebar, or I'll link an image to it or something. Like I have 7 simple business ideas for average people, or 7 ways to make money online, or something like that. I think that's something a lot of people are going to be interested in, so I link to it in the sidebar. But the post I wrote recently about blog networks being deceptive link building, I think a lot of people won't be interested in that, so I won't give that a spot.
Okay, so you still think it's going to be one of your resources, but you're not going to give it a static spot, but you're going to link to it often and hope for maybe some search engine rankings out of it too, or?
Maybe, but it's kind of on the back burner. Like, my only intention of writing that post was to save me time. It's like, if I'm going to be writing this stuff over and over again, I want to cover it well. If you're writing an article about TVs and you mention speakers, you don't want to write 500 words about speakers on a TV article because it's going to like derail the topic. Someone who just wants to know about the TVs is going to get bored learning about speakers. But if you have a speakers resource and you link to the speakers thing, then you can stay on topic but also provide the relevant information.
Yeah, and this is another reason that I really like that. This is kind of off topic a little bit, but I really like that. There's a couple different ones, but uh, what's it called? Widget Logic is the popular one, but I use a different one where you can decide which widgets or what showed up in your sidebar, depending on what page or post they're in. And I really like that for that reason. So if you're on a TV thing and you don't want to write, like you said, 500 words about speakers, but you don't necessarily want that in your sidebar the whole time, you can use that widget logic plugin or widget visibility like I do, and then have that specific speaker menu come up over there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've heard of people using that. I don't know. I haven't heard or read anything about the effectiveness of it, but that does sound pretty cool. You can essentially like change your entire website based on the person's interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. I don't use the widget logic one. Is what everybody else seems to use, but it was like really it was heavy. It used a lot of resources on the site. So I found another one called Widget Visibility, and it works pretty good. I like it a lot.
Speaking of awesome plugins, a plugin that I've been using that's a paid plugin. It's called Go. Let me look it up. I think it's called Go Responsive. Yeah, Go Responsive, and it's at Code Canyon, which is the same place where you get themes from ThemeForest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an awesome price comparison tool. Actually, the only one that I think looks good. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of that I've seen. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong places, but there's not a lot of feature price comparison plugins, which I would think would be there would be tons of them because people do it all the time. Like a lot of them are very flat and very much like basically a spreadsheet. And this one is awesome because it's got the columns and you can add images, and when you hover over a column, the column moves, and it's got a really nice interface in the back. Anyway, I've been using that one for one of my other sites, and I'm going to add it to one more. I can't remember off the top of my head which one, but anyway, it worked well enough on the one site that I'm willing to pay for it again to put it on another site.
I'm trying to check it out right now. I went here, and oh yeah, that is nice.
I thought, was it like $17?
Looks like it's 20. Yeah, looks like it's 20 here.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's not bad for $20 for a plugin. Like some plugins are 100, 200, $300.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I did a price comparison chart for a lady a while back, and I used Elegant's shortcode thing, and it looks okay. It looks like the rest of them do, but it was a pain to set up. A lot of shortcodes.
Really?
Yeah, it was a real pain in the ass to do that. So that was cool. I'll try to pop that link in the event page when we're done here, so everybody can check it out.
Yeah, I really need to look into that Elegant plugins. You mention it all the time, and I know you sent it to me, but I keep forgetting to look at it.
Yeah, it's got some decent shortcodes in it. I use it a lot for the buttons and stuff too. Even though now I'm using Genesis, I still haven't installed. I still like to use it.
Can you use the Elegant plugin on a Genesis theme too?
Yep.
Okay. Because that was my worry for some of my sites that I used the shortcodes on, because One More Cup of Coffee started on an Elegant theme, and I used a bunch of buttons, and then when I changed to Genesis, all the shortcodes no longer made buttons, and I was worried that some of my other sites with like 300 posts on them, if I decided to change themes later on down the road, how I was going to deal with that. But it sounds like you can use the plugin.
Yeah, there's parts of it that didn't work. You said the buttons didn't work for you?
Well, I didn't have the plugin installed. With the
Oh,
theme, you get the basic button
yeah.
function, and when I uninstalled the theme, they just turned into just the short code. It's just code.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've been using. The only thing that I found that didn't work with Genesis was the slider. They have a slider shortcode that, or a gallery shortcode, or whatever it is, and it didn't work. That's the only one. I got Linda's question pulled, or actually a comment pulled up here. It says, Linda says she uses a hover text plugin, so when the reader hovers, it tells them where to go to get more information. That sounds like another cool plugin.
I've seen that. I actually just looked at that last night. Randy, not the Riverside Randy, the RDub, the crazy guy that hangs out in WA chat.
Okay.
he was asking for some plugin stuff, and I found that one, and that looks pretty cool.
Let's check that one out too. Let's see. Gosh, we got a lot of stuff we still haven't talked about, man.
Yeah, on the jump link thing, the jump links are pretty cool. It's like a cool, fancy way to make, like if you do a frequently asked questions page, I always use it on those. So
Yeah.
I'll have like 10 questions, and people can just click the links and then jump to different parts of the page. And what you can also do is, if you want to link to a specific part of a different page, you can also do that. So you can be on page A and then link halfway down to page B by just adding a little bit of code at the end of your link.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. Take them to another page. One of the things that's been bugging me, and I should have brought it up when we were talking about it a minute ago, but we were talking about resources and stuff like that. And I've been talking about bootcamp a lot here, but you know the theme pages that Kyle has you make, and I think it's the first lesson of the bootcamp there.
Yeah.
So if anybody's watching and they don't know what I'm talking about, Wealthy Affiliate has, affiliate boot camp where they'll walk you through just about everything you need to know. And then one of the first lessons, you're supposed to write out themed content. You pick your theme or basically the topic of your site. So let's just say it's going to be making money online or something like that. Then you pick like 3 subtopics or whatever, and then you create pages on those, and those are called themed pages. So one of the things I never understood about this part of the boot camp is what are those for? Because later on in the boot camp, he talks about how you want to link to the Wealthy Affiliate Review often and stuff like that. So it's not like those themed pages are to be linked to or anything. So I just don't get what they're for. Is it maybe just for resources? Is it just to cover a broad topic?
I guess both. Like when I started out, my resource pages were online business, financial independence, and internet marketing. And so the online business thing was like how to start your business. And the internet marketing thing was like how internet marketing is different from MLM, or I can't remember exactly. And financial independence was more like how to manage the money that you make from internet marketing. So they were like recurring themes on the site. So whenever I would talk about financial independence, I would link to that, and then that pillar article or that themed page would in turn try to convert people to become a WA member. So it's kind of like a 2-step process to getting people into WA. Like you have your normal post, which is maybe not even promoting WA, but it's on a topic that is similar to one of your themed pages. So maybe I want to write like how to invest your money in the stock market over the internet, and I have all that, and it's part of this like financial independence theme, how to manage your money correctly. I link to the financial independence thing, and I'm like, well, it's hard to save money when you're working a 9 to 5 and you can't really get a raise. But if you spend your extra time doing internet marketing, and this is where you learn it, link to WA, like that.
Okay, I guess that makes sense then. Because it really threw me, man. I was like, man, we're not using them in the call to action because we're using the Wealthy Affiliate Review in our case, or whatever your review may be for your site. So, yeah, it really messed with me. And that's the kind of stuff that really makes me waste a lot of time, man, when I'm building a new site or just in general. I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff like that. Like, why am I doing this? I don't know why. I've always done that, man. That's why I had so many problems with math, because my teacher would just tell me this is how it's done. I'm like, no, I need to know why. So that bugged me bad. I guess it makes a little bit more sense now, especially now that we're talking about resources and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and I think it's because you don't. I guess it doesn't hurt the site, but it's kind of boring if every single page links to the same page on your site. So this mixes stuff up a bit. And it's also, I think, so you can target your audience with more relevance. So if you have different people coming to your site, someone that is more interested in the job aspect of internet marketing will be more liable, will be converted into a sale in a different way than someone who is interested in the freedom lifestyle of having an internet business. And so that allows you to write content that's tailored to that type of person. So you have the job thing, like quit your job, support your family. That's one of your theme content. They're going to read that, and that content speaks to them, and that's going to convert them to a customer differently than the freedom lifestyle, where you're like, okay, well, you do a week worth of work, set that to be published, and then you can go on 2-week vacation. And those two people are going to be different. So that allows you to be more versatile.
That makes sense. Where you want to go, man? What do you want to talk about now? We've talked about most of the stuff here. We haven't talked about revamping old posts, although we have talked about it before.
Yeah, I don't know why I wrote that there. I'm sure there was some kind of connection there.
Maybe, that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about, how you spend all that money and time and stuff on all that filler content from back in the day. Is it worth going back and revamping that stuff?
I don't think so. I've lost money, lost time. I think it's like the sprinklers. It's like sometimes it takes twice as long to fix something, sometimes it takes twice as long to fix something than it does to just do it over from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
So you could take a 500-word post that was bland and didn't really go anywhere, and add sentences here, chop sentences off there, restructure it, all that stuff, and you might as well just write the whole thing from scratch.
Yeah. It's one of the things I thought of when you said that, because that URL, I don't know what URL, that you're using or how you are set up there, but say you had some of your filler content for, trying to think of something, let's just say onemorecupofcoffee.com/SEO review. Well, next time you want to write an SEO review, it's going to use the URL is going to be SEO review 2, right? So lately I've been really thinking about this because I've done a couple 301 redirects, and I found out I don't like doing that, man. That's really a last-ditch effort thing. So that URL is really important. So maybe, instead of trying to edit it and stuff like that or create a whole new post, maybe you could just erase all that stuff that's there. That way you get to keep that URL.
Yeah, I've never had something not rank and then change it and then have it rank. Um, so I'm interested to know how that works. Um, you know what I'm saying? Because if you delete all the content and rewrite it, Google's essentially going to re-index that with de-index and re-index, maybe something like that. Um, I know I've tried to. Oh, and remind me after I talk about this, I want to talk about SEO titles.
All right.
But I've changed the titles of posts to be more quote unquote optimized, and it didn't do anything. And I've changed headings. So I had a post that it was ranking for a keyword but not very well, and I didn't have any H tags in there with my keyword, and so I added an H2 and an H3 and an H4, and it also didn't do anything. I've rewritten content and had it stay exactly where it is. So from what I've seen, once it's there, it's there. But there's got to be some mobility in there somewhere. You're not just stuck there forever. I just haven't figured out how to make it work.
It really does feel that way, man. Because I've thought about that too. That's why when I'm writing stuff and I publish it, I'm really thinking about what is the best time to publish it, because it really feels like you get one shot. It really does. And I guess maybe it's because it goes further back into your archives, and not only that, but the older your posts get, the more links are or the more kind of canonical URLs or whatever it's called, the older it gets, the more links are going to be associated with that content, not pointing to it, but because you have, you got your post URL and then category post and then tag post, and then as time goes on, you're creating more content and more categories and more tags, and I think it just gets diluted that way. I think that's why it's hard to get them to move. But I think social signals is going to start playing more of a role on older content, getting it moved forward. That's kind of my thing. I'm thinking about some of the older content that I have, because we all share to, let's say Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus. Well, some of that older content, what if you share it on Tumblr or one of the, Reddit or maybe something like that? It gives it a whole fresh signal. I'm wondering.
I saw a case study from someone, I think it was from Rand Fishkin, where he was ranking on position 6 for something, and he had all of his followers do a search for his keyword and click his link, and within a couple hours he was ranked number 1 for that keyword within the U.S. So most of his followers were in the U.S. So when people searched the term, they scrolled down, found his, clicked on his, stayed on the page for a certain amount of time. I think he had a list of actions they had to take. Immediately, it brought him up to the first spot, and only within the area where the clicks were coming from.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I've heard people doing that too, asking people to go click on it and stuff like that, but that's pretty wild.
Linda's got a couple of questions over here.
Let's see here. Let's grab that one. You can hover to a link in the same page. Linda says you can hover to a link in the same page. Is that what you mean by jumping? Jump links are basically when you, if you visit somebody's FAQ page, a lot of times they'll have kind of the questions at the top, and you can click them, and it just brings you down to another part of the page. I think Leo Emery has a really good video about this on YouTube. I'll put that link in the event page as soon as we're done here, so you can check it out. You'll see what I mean there. What else? It also says, have you revamped a post with a PowerPoint to lead into additional information? I'm not sure what that means.
I don't really use PowerPoint. I don't know. Can you do PowerPoint in a blog?
I guess if you did it with a video, I don't think you can embed a PowerPoint though.
Oh, maybe you did. Yeah, maybe you did a video. I can't remember if I've done it or not, but I've always wondered, how to change your position. I tried the H tags, I tried the title change, um, and I wonder if adding a video with your keyword would help anything.
That's something I really want to really try to figure out these next coming months is video. I'm getting the video sitemap plugin from Yoast. I really want to dig into how video plays into optimization. I'm also trying to use more GIFs or GIFs or whatever they're called to
I
see.
saw that on your site.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's not something I see a lot of people doing at the top, So I'm going to try that out and see what that does. But there's no real way to optimize those other than outside of an image. But the video thing, I'm definitely going to be looking into that. I think if you're doing a PowerPoint in a video and it's embedded on your site, I think if you got the sitemap and stuff like that, it would probably help. But if you don't have a video sitemap, I don't think it's going to help on its own unless more people start coming to it from social or something like that.
I know Jay has a webinar on videos and video sitemaps, and I did do a video sitemap on mine, and I found it didn't really do anything for me.
Really?
Yeah, I used to do tons of videos. I did I think in 2 or 3 months, I did a video every day. Like it took me a couple months, and I had 100 videos on my YouTube. Because I used to do a video for every single review I did. Which, by the way, this is the most annoying thing about being in this niche is that there's all these scam finders out there that get mad at either scam finders or people butthurt that I review their product wrong, and they go through and they flag all of my videos. And YouTube, their review staff, luckily they're smart enough to not take the videos down, but they age restrict them. And so it's like a blanket thing. Like I have WordPress tutorials which are age restricted as commercial content. I'm like, this is telling you how to draw a straight line in GIMP, or it's telling you how to change the HTML code in WordPress, and it's got an age restricted symbol on there. I can understand some of the review stuff where it's like, oh, X product, is it really a scam? That looks like these other scam products out there. But I had one video, it was called, whatever the product name was, Don't Spam YouTube. And it was a really negative review of it. It was like, this is completely stupid. It's asking you to spam YouTube with all these commercial videos, blah, blah, blah. And it's flagged as commercially deceptive content.
Wow. We've lost your video somehow.
Oh, really?
At least I have. I'm not sure if... Oh, there you go. You're back now.
Huh.
It could have been just on my end, so... Not sure. But yeah, I remember you telling us about that a while back when somebody went through and flagged all your videos. That sucks, man.
Yeah, it stopped for a long while, and then recently there was a surge again. And I can always tell it's one person that goes and flags all of them because there's a huge chunk. It's not like one video here or there. It's 20 videos at once. So I know someone goes through. Also see a string of thumbs downs where they'll go and they'll thumbs down all of our webinars or something. It's like, come on.
Well, you're doing something right when all that's going on.
Yes.
What plugin did you use for the video sitemap?
I don't remember. Something free.
Okay, I'll check it out. I didn't see any free ones that that had any good reviews or anything. I think I saw a couple, but they were pretty bad.
Oh, now I gotta go look.
I didn't look too hard though. This was a while back. I was just checking it out before I got the other one. But yeah, we're coming up on time here. We're actually a little bit over. You got anything else you want to add before we sign off of here?
Okay, the plugin I use is Google XML sitemap for videos.
Sweet, I'll check that out.
I don't know what the rating is though. Yeah, it doesn't say. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is the SEO titles.
Oh yeah, sorry, I wrote that down too. I still forgot it.
Like 10 minutes. So, do you think there? I don't know if I asked you this already. Do you think there's any value in shortening the URL of your post? So let's say my post is, wealthy affiliate review. Is it worth your time and money? And WordPress will automatically make the URL be exactly what that is. Where some people shorten it to remove the stop words, and some people only put their keyword in there. Do you think there's any value in that?
I'm starting to do that because I want to see what happens. I really don't know. I don't know how they can do it with just a keyword in there, for one thing, because, I guess if you're using long tail keywords, you're probably all right, but for some of the shorter ones, you can't, because then you're stuck with keyword -2, and I think that's probably terrible for SEO. So, but yeah, I don't know if it's helpful or not, but it seems like a lot of the bigger sites like Copyblogger, who else? There's a couple of the other ones out there that seem to remove the stop words and got really short URLs. So, I don't know. One thing that really confuses me about it is that they're doing that, and we've been talking about title length a lot here lately, but that doesn't help your title in the SERPs, which seems like that would be the biggest place you want help at when you're trying to shorten something, right?
Well, that's where it gets confusing. And actually, the site that made me start thinking about this was Copyblogger. You link to it for something in the community, and I noticed their URL was almost completely different from their post title. Like the keyword was the same. They used the keyword, but it wasn't that they just removed the stop words. They which for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's like the, and that type of stuff, which apparently Google doesn't read anyway. So they rearranged their keyword. It was obvious they had their keyword in the URL, whatever it was, and then they had their post title, which was like normal speaking, whatever you would normally write, grammatically correct. And I was like, oh, I thought that was like a no-no where you're not supposed to have your URL and your title mismatch. But then I was like, okay, well, your title isn't anything other than an H1 tag, right?
Right.
So there's no rule saying that your title can't match your URL. Tons of people doing it. A lot of people have like dates in their URLs. Yoast, like one of the most popular SEO plugins in the world, automatically, like by default, removes the stop words.
Oh.
So it can't be like a huge downside to it. Upside would be like the look of it. It's shorter. Maybe improve your click-through rate. But some people say that it also, if your URL is too long, that it dilutes your keyword power. If you have your keyword is monarch butterfly recipes, and you have like the best monarch butterfly recipes of 2014, whatever, like maybe that keyword isn't so important. So yeah, I don't know if that is only something that applies to the title, only something that applies to the URL, or both, or if it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I really don't know. Now I could see where having a longer URL for one, the click-through thing, but I could see where it does, or it could uh, dilute the keyword a little bit. Um, but like I said, I'm definitely playing with it, and I mean I don't have anything to report on yet. But again, one of the reasons I don't like shortening them, like they did, like Copyblogger did, was they had this pretty long title and then like a two-word URL basically, or page URL anyway, and then you get stuck with, you know, um, you basically got URLs that you can't ever use again, which is sucks. So yeah, I don't know, man. I would say that it's probably got a lot more to do with because I've also heard that when Google is reading a page, too much white space can cause problems with them, which I don't know how true that is anymore, but maybe it's the same thing with the URL. If they're reading, they hit your keyword and then they got to keep going. Or probably what's worse is having a lot of crap before the keyword.
That's another thing I wonder about is like SEO speculation hour is if your keyword is more towards the front of your title versus in the middle versus at the back, does that make a difference?
I hear people say it's the closer you can get it to the .com or whatever, the better. I
Huh.
mean, and who really knows how true that is? But I've heard that a lot. You want to get your keyword in as quick as you can.
Because I've also wondered is, they have that whole like over optimizing penalty. If your keyword is, the first word of your title, the first word of your URL, the first word of your first sentence, and then also the alt tag of your first image, like, is that over optimization? Is that going to get you? Is that going to cause you any issues?
Yeah, I don't know, man. And maybe that's another reason for having short URLs because then you can still keep your keyword close and your URL short, but you could switch things around a little bit. So if you got a two-word keyword, you could switch it back and forth or whatever. Of course, then it's not the exact keyword, but I don't know. It's a lot of speculation, and I really don't know.
That's what it is. I don't have enough time, or I'm interested, but not enough to, because you have to be really thorough to almost figure anything out, because there's so many variables. Like you can't, like, usually a scientific way to figure out what is true and what isn't is you have to do side by side trials where everything is exactly the same except for one variable. But with Google, you can't have the exact same content. So by default, any results you produce from an experiment aren't necessarily true because it's a different website with a different URL and with different content. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think about that too. But this new little site I'm doing, this boot camp site or whatever, I'm using the Yoast plugin on that, and I've got it set to remove the stop words because you can on the Yoast plugin you can have it leave them in. You can choose whether you want them to stay or not. So I've got it set to remove the stop words and stuff like that. Um, and I'm trying to stay consistent with the posting on it, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to tell something soon from it.
Well, I've been doing the same thing. Not only removing the stop words, I'm just putting my keyword in the URL. So
Oh,
we're
that's
gonna
it?
see if that. I've done that for pretty much the whole of this week. So about 6 posts so far. So I'm gonna do it for another week or two and see if it changes anything or if it does anything at all.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see because your site gets crawled probably a lot more often than mine does. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what we find out from that. I have to remember to put that in the show notes for next week to
Yeah.
see if we learn anything at all. We may not be able to tell yet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. Wow.
We kind of ignored Linda for a bit.
Hi, Linda. Hold on. Yeah, okay. She's yes with audio. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Let's grab that one.
Okay, Linda uses the same plugin for the video sitemaps.
Uh-huh.
I think we must have learned about that from Jay because I remember watching that webinar.
To a new blog with power. Hold on. Video sitemap to a new blog with the PowerPoint plus audio from older post as introduction. Put me to first page and still there. Video sitemap to a new blog.
First page strategy. You got to patent that. Create an info product.
Yeah.
Learn how I got to Google page 1. Guaranteed ranking by Linda K. Ward.
Oh, cool. She says she sells butterfly umbrellas. Huh. Very nice. Expo site for videos. Right. Great plugin. Cool. Did you see any monarch butterflies? Linda said, did you see any monarch butterflies? Wrote 3 times a week to spread the word for 2 months. Got lots of response this week. Cool. Sounds good. I wonder, Linda, I don't know. How old is your site right now, Linda? I don't know if she's still here or not. I'm just curious to see how old it is.
Linda's been around WA for a while.
Yeah. You can drop it in the event page too, Linda, if you're still watching.
She must be. She commented on the patented product thing.
Yeah.
Said, I don't know about that, but it worked.
Trust me, you could do it 8 years. Cool. Wow, I bet there's a lot of content on that site.
What? 8 years? Dang.
Butterflies, 8 years. Huh.
My oldest site is, I think, 3.5 years old.
Yeah. Mine's probably 2, maybe 3. I don't do anything with it anymore, though. Alright, I guess that's going to be it. Unless you got anything else you want to add. We'll come back to the SEO title thing next week just to see if you found anything out. And I'll do the same. I'll try to see what I find out too.
Cool.
Alright, well, thanks for watching, everyone. And we will see you guys next Thursday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Later.
See ya.